Hey guys, this is Mike, and in today's screencast, we're going to be looking at a very helpful but underutilized tool within Logos Bible software, and that tool is known as the Bible Sense Lexicon. So sit back and relax, and let's go ahead and dive right in. Before we look more in depth at the Bible Sense Lexicon, let's talk a little bit about what a Bible sense is to begin with. So that might be a very foreign term to most of you. If you've done any sort of Greek or Hebrew studies or language studies in more formal capacities, you've probably heard that term before. But really, the idea of a sense, if you think about in real estate, the key idea is location, location, location. Well, in biblical studies, in particular word studies, the three key aspects of word studies are context, context, context. In essence, a sense is the meaning of a Greek or Hebrew word within the context in which it's used. Let's look at a case example of this. I'm going to open my preferred English Bible, and for this I'm going to open the Lexham English Bible to John 3:16. You can do the same by typing LEB to John 3:16 in the command bar and hitting enter. And this will open our Bible directly to that verse. So this verse is one that everybody knows and everybody loves. It says, "For in this way God loved the world, so that he gave his one and only Son." So it says that God loved the world. And the word world is the word that we want to dig in a little bit deeper. This is actually the Greek word cosmos, if you're interested in understanding what that is. And we can know this by simply mousing over the word and looking at the bottom left-hand corner for the original language details. We can find this a few different ways, but we're just going to focus on that just for the sake of time through our reverse interlinear data. So this is the Greek word cosmos. Remember that. For in this way God loved the cosmos. Now let's go ahead and turn our Bible to 1 John 2:15 for another example. And in this verse it says, "Do not love the world or the things in the world, for if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him." And look at this. If anyone loves the world, and we mouse over that, and it's also the Greek word cosmos. But this says, if anyone loves the cosmos, the love of the Father is not in him. Wait a second. John 3:16 just said, "For God so loved the world." So what's going on here? Is this a contradiction in Scripture? The answer is no. And the reason being is that this Greek word cosmos can mean different things based upon the context in which it's used. This is a very flexible word. And this is just one example. So if we were to say that the Greek word cosmos means the same thing every time that it's used, we'd be creating what's called a word study fallacy. If you read D.A. Carson's Exegetical Fallacies, he talks about that in depth. So how can we distinguish different senses of this word? Well, one great way to do that is through something called the Bible Sense Lexicon, and that's a tool within Logos Bible software. If you want to get a little bit more information about the Bible Sense Lexicon, you can go up to the question mark in the top right-hand corner of your Logos and launch the Logos Bible software help. Within the help file, there's actually an article on the Bible Sense Lexicon, as well as many of the other tools within Logos. I would highly recommend taking a look at this Logos 6 help file in multiple occasions. There's all kinds of really great and rich information stored within this particular help file. So take a look at that. Now that we know what a Bible sense is, and we know that there's a way to access this type of information within Logos Bible software, I want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the best ways to access this particular information in order to really leverage it for our Bible study. So I'm going to go ahead and close the Logos 6 help file, and we're going to come back over here to the Lexham English Bible. Now, there's a few different ways that we can actually launch the Bible Sense Lexicon. I'm going to show you how to do those, but then we're going to take a look at kind of the most practical way that I would use this tool. And then we are going to use a second part to this video to talk a little bit more about how to leverage the lexicon window itself and how to actually run searches for the different senses. So the first way we can launch the Bible Sense Lexicon is to actually go up to the Tools menu. And within the Tools menu, under Reference, we'll find an entry for the Bible Sense Lexicon. Here we can actually open the Bible Sense Lexicon in its own floating window and look at a whole bunch of information on any particular sense within this lexical resource. Now we're not going to dig into this window right now because we're going to do that at a later point, but I just want to show you how you can access this particular tool within Logos. Another way that you can open up the Bible Sense Lexicon window is right out of the biblical text itself. Notice if we come to 1 John 2:15 in the Lexham English Bible, it says, if anyone loves the world. Well, we can actually right-click on the word world itself, and within the context menu, we can access sense information on the right-hand side. Notice this is the world system sense. And once we've selected the sense on the right, we can select Bible Sense Lexicon on the top left, and that will launch the Bible Sense Lexicon window as well. I like this way of going about opening the Bible Sense Lexicon because it opens directly to the sense you're interested in, as opposed to opening it from the Tools menu. From there, you actually have to then navigate to the sense, as opposed to having it open directly to the place you're interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and close the window again. And there's another way that we can actually access that same window, only I'm going to show you how you can really leverage this lexicon right within the text itself in a really practical, pragmatic, and effective way. Probably the best way to do this within an English Bible is to use it with regard to the reverse interlinear ribbon or the inline interlinear. I prefer the ribbon, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. So you can do that by clicking on the interlinear button here within your English Bible. You can actually know that you have a reverse interlinear attached to your English Bible if it actually has this interlinear button up here in the toolbar. If this interlinear button, or there's these two interlinear buttons actually, this is the inline interlinear and the ribbon interlinear, are not in the toolbar, that means that particular Bible does not have reverse interlinear data. So with our ribbon open, we can actually click on any word within our English Bible and get the the Greek and Hebrew information down below. So let's go ahead and click on the word world within 1 John 2:15. And notice down below we've got highlighted the word world. And one of the options within the ribbon down below is the sense. Notice that this sense is the world system. And if you don't happen to have sense visible within your ribbon, right-click on the far left-hand side of the ribbon itself, and that will provide a menu where you can turn on or off the sense option. Notice there's other options you can turn on and off as well. So here we can see this is the world system. And if we mouse over it, we get a tooltip. And if we click on that sense within the ribbon, once again, launches the Bible Sense Lexicon directly to that particular sense, where we can look at where else does this sense appear, what other lemmas are attached to this sense, how does this sense relate to other senses, how many times does this sense appear, so on and so forth. Notice if we click on a different instance of world, how about this one, the second instance within 1 John 2:15, we have an entirely different sense attached to this instance of the word. This is world creation. Now if we go back to John 3:16, where we just came from, and click on the instance of world here, once again, still cosmos, but we have another sense attached to this one. This is the world populace. So these are all different senses that are attached to this one Greek word, and we can quickly and effectively access these right out of our interlinear ribbon within our Logos Bible software. So now we know how we can quickly access these different senses of the word, and we can actually understand what's going on here when a word is used in context. We're going to want to dig in a little bit more to see how we can find other instances of that word and how we can find out how that word is related to other words of similar or related senses. And we can do that using the Bible Sense Lexicon window as well as by running searches on these senses. But we're going to reserve that particular piece for part 2 of this video on the Bible Sense Lexicon tool. If you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see the second part of this series as well as other videos as they're released on this channel, make sure that you give me a subscribe. As always, enjoy mining the depths of the scriptures using Logos. Until next time.